Okay, first of all, thank you very much to eClay for inviting me. I've been working with for 2 years with the coordinator in the marine collaboration of East Jutland. So I'm actually in the municipality of Aarhus. That's the secretariat for the marine collaboration. So I'm here as someone who is a bystander, but actually the one who needs the credit is Torben Ankerø, who's the coordinator, but he's skiing right now. So I'm telling I've been having conversations with him, so I think it will be fine. As you can see, I'm a project manager in an EU project and part of another one. I'm a biologist and an organizational consultant as well. Okay, so about the marine collaboration. Well, first of all, what I'm going to talk about is why the collaboration, how's the organization, the geography, strategy and focus areas, and the two last are actually the ones that I think are the most important: how to gain influence and collaborate, and private co-financing, why, how, and who. And I'm actually the one who's been working with the private co-financing for a couple of years. I'll get back to that. So first, why even have a marine collaboration? And just to say, the marine collaboration in East Jutland, as the full name is 7 municipalities that are close, that are lying next to each other in the coastal zone. And the reason why they even bother, you could say, to have a collaboration like this is that the coastal waters have collapsed. They have the municipalities have a high interest in the area due to tourism and fishery and biodiversity, not the least. But it actually has collapsed because we have huge amounts of farmland that puts nutrients into the ocean, even though we're trying to the best we can to keep it low. But that means that there's a lot of nutrients in coastal waters that doesn't have a lot of stream and movement. So that made the interest for the mayors and the municipalities very high, but without formal authority, because it's a national matter to deal with the water once you're at the edge of the water. But the collaboration agreed that they wanted to see if they could have some influence. And also from the idea that the sea has no boundaries for fish and life in itself, and we have food chains that are interconnected. Tourism is important all along the coast, more in some places than other. Fishery is stopping. So these 7 municipalities agreed to work together. The organization is, and you can see in the third line, there's the coordinator, who is actually the spider of the web, my colleague. And we have a political chairman from one of the municipalities. And then once they started 3 years ago, and decided to put money into this, which is basically only paying the salary for my colleague, and he has to find other means in order to make the work go on. And that's one of the things that I collaborate with him on. But one of the things that's interesting is that it's 7 mayors that's decided, so there's an easy access to the political level, who also have to make the decisions, of course. And at the same time, the mayors have their CEOs on board in the collaboration. There are technical managers, which is from each of the technical departments. So they also know what's going on and can be part of the decisions. And then we have a project group that are the technical well, you could say project owners, biologists mainly, from all the different municipalities, the 7 municipalities. We have a large collaboration with the researchers on universities. We have different universities that we have a close collaboration with. And then the NGO collaboration group is actually very, very broad, because it includes both fishery, the NGOs who works for the life in oceans, and all kind of organizations that have an interest in the ocean, whether to use it or to protect it. So it's a very large group. That's quite important. I'll get back to that. And then there are local NGO working groups in the different municipalities. Oh, sorry. Yeah, and this is just to let you know the geography of it. As you probably know, Denmark is quite a small country. We have Sweden on the right, and Norway north of us, and England, as you won't be able to see, and then Germany on the south. And the area is quite diverse. Aarhus is a large city of 300,000 people. Then we have open oceans, we have islands. So it's very, very diverse, actually, the area, which means some are interested in fisheries, others are interested in dredging, others are interested in having fish farms, and so on. So there are quite a few different interests. And these are the three main focus areas that the collaboration has. The representation of interests, which means how can we affect the national politicians and the decision making. Restoration projects, as you can see on the picture, could be stone reefs, eelgrass, planting biogenic reefs, and dissemination, actually making people interested in the ocean. So you can see over the top of the ocean it looks very nice and the sunset is beautiful, but underneath there might be no life at all. So it's quite important to get a lot of people to get interested in the ocean, because that makes a difference when we want to have collaborations. Last year a strategy was made which had these 7 key action areas. So it's I've been calling it work packages. It's key action areas, and we have the representation of interests, which I've put a star next to because I want to say a few more words about that. We have research, which is about baselines in the ocean and developments. How do you measure? The first speaker was Joanna, was talking about that as well. And since we're collaborating with companies, they have an interest in how can we measure this? How can we show that we actually make a difference if we donate money for the ocean? As well as just a basic interest in that. Recreational challenges and opportunities, how can we make the ocean or the sea nice to use again, and worthwhile for fishermen and divers and so on. Dissemination is an important part, as I just mentioned. Collaboration with the NGOs, which is, we have like with what we call Blue Council, and sorry, just have to see what I'm doing here. Yeah. So that collaboration is really, really vital in order to make this work. I'll get back to that. And then I have a star with the external financing here, and the last and the restoration part. So the 2 that I chose is how do you, as a municipality, get influence and collaboration to work if you have to actually move into an area that's not your authority, but a national authority. So it makes it quite difficult. That's one of the challenges about it. And one of the things that my colleague is really good at, I'll just go back to that, is collaborating with the VP5, the NGOs, because he knows that once you get a buy-in from all the people who have an interest in the ocean in one way or the other, whether for using it or protecting it, it makes it easier to access the political level, because they're of course interested in different things. And another part is, how can you unify decisions in 7 municipalities where you have different levels of how to make a political decision. So once you have the Blue Council, the NGOs, as part of the decision, maybe you also need to have the businesses. So if you want to make some differences that affects the fishers very early on, go into a dialogue with them to make sure that they also can see some ideas in the changes that will be made, because everybody of course will have a certain adversity to changes. So how can you get these changes as you can say, serve it for the politicians, so it's actually easy for the politicians to make a decision, because that's actually the main part of this. It's very time consuming to include advisors, but since it actually saves time in the end, once you want to get the politicians board, is really worth the while. And as I said, the municipalities have different interests and limitations. So in Aarhus, for instance, we have like a desire for dredging, for instance, because we have a lot of building in the city and the harbor and everything, whereas fishery might be very important in another part, and tourism in other municipalities again. So it is always balance and a lot of coffee, as my my colleague said. Some of the lessons learned, that the decisions made on proactivity, which means as far as you can see, once there's some legislation that changes, get to it. Early inclusion of businesses, both local and national politicians will lean in without thorough preparation, so if they know what you're doing. The coordinator, actually, my colleague, is pushing the edges, which is one of the things that actually make things done. And together we make each other better. That's actually kind of his credo. So knowledge and trust are really important in this process. So he comes with really thorough knowledge from the university, but he creates trust by drinking lots and lots of coffee. And the last slide is about the private co-financing, which is necessary since the municipalities have only paid for my colleague's salary and a student, and for 5 more years actually, just recently decided. So he needs to get financing to all the different items, which could be your EU Horizon projects, for instance, or national funding, but also private companies, which is actually which we have made work in the areas. So in Aarhus we've got a couple of huge donations, and in another area further south they've got a really large donation from some of the private fundings. But why even, I'm about to, good. So why even put money in the ocean? Well, usually it's a personal interest. And if nutrients come from land, what's the use? Some of the questions, we put ESG as part of it. Cutting ribbons is great. Project time is a public task, so that's EU projects. Networking is really, really hard work. There's a growing interest due to media. No help with the omnibus on ESG and no nature credits. There's a demand for impact measures, as I said, and the public image is quite important. And there's differences in reasons why. Thank you very much.